Shalom, Kal Halayim wa Kal Kabad, Yahweh wa Yahabushah. Double honors to the apostles and elders of GMS. Greeting and salutation to the brothers teaching and preaching the truth and in sincerity. And to the hopeful elect, Shalom. Right now I'm going to go on to, well, the title of this lesson is, what time do you think that we're in? Because the Spirit hit me, I believe it's Saturday. I'm not sure what day that'll be. Might be 19th or 20th, I believe. But on, I was coming across the scripture, Nahum chapter 3. And when I saw the scripture, it made me think about pretty much what's taking place in the Middle East right now. And with no more hold up, might as well just go right into it. This is Nahum chapter 3, verse 18. It say, Thy shepherds slumber, O king of Assyria. Thy nobles shall dwell in the dust. Thy people is scattered upon the mountains, and no man gathereth them. There is no healing of thy bruise, thy wound is grievous. All that hear the bruit of thee shall clap the hands over thee, for upon whom hath not thy wickedness passed continually. Now, like looking at what's taking place in the Middle East right now, in those certain areas, when you look up what is ancient Assyria, the same surrounding bodies of that area are the same place where there's conflict taking place right now in the Middle East. That's the reason why it stuck out to me. Another thing, it says, Thy nobles shall dwell in the dust being confusion. Because in one of these articles particularly, it was talking about how there was a ceasefire set up. Then later on that day, boom, some shit pop off and boom, they back at it again. Confusion. They thought they was going to have peace, but ain't no peace. Like, people are scattered, because if you take a look at these refugees, Syria got their people they left out, and they trying to find, refuge and stuff. That's why they call them refugees. They pretty much kicked out of there because of the war that's taking place over there. And no man gathereth them, because it's some places that they don't even want them to come over there. And then it says, there is no healing of thy bruise, because all this is going to kick off into World War III. Whether you believe it, or whether you like it or not. Thy wound is grievous. Because, man, you can sit there and try to do all those policies and stuff to try to help out over there. It's not going to work. It's going to, just like the ceasefire, going to seem to work for that time period, but it's going to go right back to what it is. Because the prophecy about Ishmael is supposed to be he's a wild man. So that's what it leads to. They're going to keep on staying in conflict. And all they hear the bruit of these shall clap their hands over thee, like they're rejoicing. Because if you look up the word bruit, that means news. And with no more hold up, let's first get into what I was talking about, ancient Assyria. As you can see, this whole little region right here, this is what those countries are today. You got Turkey, Syria, Iraq, and Iran. This whole little region right here is supposed to be ancient Assyria. And if you believe not, it's okay. This is a map that shows you, once again, that same little region, Turkey, Assyria, Iraq, Iran. That was Assyria in ancient time. This is what it is today. So, you can look them up for yourself. Now, in case you still doubt, this little part, you can look in Wikipedia and see it says centered on the Tigris in the upper Mesopotamia, modern northern Iraq. As you can see, northern parts of Iraq. In case you still can't see, as you see right there with the map, northern part of Iraq. Then moving on, northeastern Syria, as you can see right here, eastern, and eastern, northeastern, eastern, northeastern. and northwestern fringes of Iran. As you can see, that area right there in which they're talking about, or in this, what they're talking about, leading up to this. Um, and moving on, it said, yeah, I believe that, yeah, the southeastern port of Turkey. Slovakia for missing that port, southeastern port of Turkey. Southeastern port of Turkey. So now with knowing that, as you can look in the news, I kind of find this interesting because it's like they all got this link with ISIS some way somehow. Not linked like they're part of it, but all of them battling ISIS some way somehow, which as well is like how America keep trying to come into their countries to quote unquote fight ISIS, trying to get involved in it when really they're actually ISIS in the first place. As you see right here, you can read this if you want to. This is let me see what news article company this is. This is, I believe it's supposed to be New York Times. And you can type in or Google Iran conflicts of 2016, and you could press the button where it say load more, and you could scroll down, come to where you can see the date where they published it, May 28, 2016. Not all these other articles, just this one in particular, if you want to see what I was highlighting to show the interest of. And then if you look in here, South Front, Syrian war, and like I was mentioning earlier about the ceasefire, on August 21st evening, a ceasefire agreement was reportedly signed between the National Defense Forces loyal to the Syrian government and the Kurdish police, Assyria's, the Kurdish People's Protection Units (YPG), and the city of Jazeera in eastern Syria. Reports said that the agreement included transfer of the captured areas and further talks on the situation in the city. There were also reports that Major General Hassan Mahad has replaced Major General Mohammed Khadr as commander of the Syrian Army's 17th Division in the eastern region of Syria. However, August 22nd showed that the goal of setting up a ceasefire in the city likely failed again. Shellings and firefights resumed in various neighborhoods. And Salakia, Akim, you hear me when I come to these ports where it got these Arabic names and it got an H right there? And I say, that's because in the Arabic language, whenever you see the H word, just like how in Hebrew you got the CH words and got that that's the same thing you do in the Arabic. That's what I learned when I was in the military, and they trained us before we went to Iraq. That's what they taught us about the Arabic language. But moving on, that's just a little edification. But moving on, this is Iraq, and well, CNN, you can see it. You can also Google conflicts in Iraq 2016, and you can see this article some way somehow. But scrolling down and getting to the point about the conflict of the situation, as you see, talk about ISIS draw, and you can skim through it, but you can read it, but I'm going to skim through it and get to this part right here. Mosul, this is located in the northern part of Iraq. I've been there when I was in the military. So this is located in the northern part of Iraq. And moving on, you could go to Al Jazeera News, and they talked about this. You can read the title. And you can go through here if you want to. And again, just like the conflict is all surrounding this ISIL thing, because it's trying to brew up World War III. And this is Matthew. And before we get into the scripture, Salakia, it's brewing up World War III. So you see all these conflicts happening. You have to come to the point where you have to ask yourself, what time do you actually really think we're in? What time do you really think that we're in? This is Matthew chapter 24, verse 6 to the 28th, verse 6 to the 8th verse. And you should hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that you be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines and pestilence and earthquakes in divers places. And you see that. All these are the beginnings of sorrow. Now let's stop right there. We're still in the same chapter. You might think you got a little break and you got a little rest. Only the elect got a little break and a little rest because the hedge of protection of Yahweh Shem Yahweh surrounds them. Other than that, you don't understand what's really going on in the world. You ain't got that hedge of protection. So you should really be afraid. And ask yourself again, what time do you think we're in? Because moving on, jumping down to the 32nd verse, it says, Now learn a parable of the fig tree, when his branch is yet tender, and putteth forth leaves. You know that summer is nigh. So likewise, when you see Salakia, so likewise ye, when ye shall see all these things, know that it is near, even at the doors. That's how close it is. Verily I say unto you, this generation shall not pass till all these things be fulfilled. Heaven and earth shall pass away, but my word shall not pass away. But of that day and hour knoweth no man, no, not the angels of heaven, but my Father only. But as the days of Noah, which is, he's speaking about Noah, it's just the Greek writing put no. So let me read that again. But as the days of Noah, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be. For as in the days that were before the flood, they were eating and drinking, marrying and giving in marriage. Marrying, that could be fucking, just having sex. Marrying and giving in marriage, like arranged marriages. And you can even consider these certificates that you get from Esau is arranged marriages. Because what do y'all nasty motherfuckers do in the first place? You go around fucking your whole damn life being a goddamn slut, then all of a sudden you want to put on a white dress. But you want this nigga to bend on the motherfucking knee to, and then report to Esau so he could sign his fucking life away to become your fucking slave. Given into marriage. Until the day that Noah entered in the ark, and knew not until the flood came and took them all away, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be. Because while all these people are caught up into giving into marriages, you know, all these things of the world, overindulging in themselves, living in pleasure, being twice dead. While all these people are distracted by that, they fail to realize, what time is it? So hopefully you was edified by that. And then I'm going to say, Ka halali makal kabad, Yahweh wa Yahweh Shai. Double honors to the apostles and elders of GMS. And greeting and salutation to the brothers teaching and preaching the truth in truth and in sincerity. And to the hopeful elect. Shalom.